really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
I was in the first row. I was directly in front of Trump.
Truly iconic moment in U.S. history. Former President Donald Trump's attempted assassination seemed to have failed, and you could say that's good news for America. Could also be bad news. Could be the start of some civil unrest, possibly civil war. We're not sure what's going to happen just yet, but there is some important revelations that we're going to be sharing with you today, including Bible Code and Torah Code revelations. We have with us today Cardinal Eric Logan, Cardinal Emil Johansson, and Cardinal Matt Staader. Thank you for joining us, brothers.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, brother.
Yes, thank you.
So this
go right ahead.
Shooting,
I'll leave you the floor.
Thanks. This shooting, as dramatic as it is, has a lot of oddities about it. But going all the way back before all of that, this was predicted 3,000 years ago, discovered by our Torah Code researchers in 2016. That's how far back we have known that somebody was going to try to assassinate Trump. It's old news to us. Have a look at this. Actually, it's fitting that Ryan Cleric, Richard Ruff, included one of the Illuminati playing cards, Enough is Enough, in the image for this code discovery, because there's another one that comes into play with this event. We'll get into that a bit later. But Cardinal Emil, you're our main Torah Code guy here on today's episode. Would you mind reading off the terms for that code?
Yeah, sure. So the main search term here is Assassination Trump, Me Heart 8. And we can see three prominent secondary terms here. Some of them occurring several times, all of them occurring several times actually, which is gunfire, venom, toxicant, poison, and killing. So this seems to predict that there will be an assassination or an assassination attempt by gunfire or possibly poison. And what we've just witnessed was through gunfire.
Well, one thing to note about, well, two things to note about Torah Code, it shows possible futures. Not always certainly the future that will come, but for the most part, it does explain in one way or another, point at just about every possibility in this world stage guided by God timeline that we live in. Now, this term for poison, that could be an alternative timeline sort of thing that could have happened, one of the options for this stage of the world, but I suspect it might be not over yet. If someone dies in the near future from poisoning, we're going to know why.
Yeah, it's something that could still happen. We just have to wait and see also. So a lot of people have predicted this event. It didn't really take a lot of people by surprise, judging by how people have been, or the media and the establishment have been treating Trump. They've been doing everything against him, like, the indictments and false allegations and the smearing in the media. It's like when nothing else works, what do you have left?
Some officials have even said as much publicly. I forget the individual's name. I know Marjorie Taylor Greene had some things to say about it, but yeah, to say that they've tried everything else, they'll try killing.
I'm honestly surprised there hasn't already been some form of retaliation, as yet, at least.
You mean from the right?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as many right.
Sorry.
Go ahead, bud.
I was going to say, it's been approximately 24 hours since it occurred now, so I suppose it's still early days. There's still
how
a big window where that could happen.
You know how the media tends to focus on one thing at a time, for the most part. I suspect that there's probably a lot going on with Americans right now that is not being talked about, including an increase in violence.
It's funny, for ever since Obama's reign, there have been so many people on watch lists, and only a growing number since then. By now, if you're not on a watch list, what are you even doing with your life? But
you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, as many far-right, quote-unquote, extremists they have listed, it's kind of a wonder that they're not all freaking out right now. But we know this is very much a staged, coordinated event. I'm not saying the right or the left did it. I'm saying it was staged, clearly, plainly, by, Alex Jones calls it the deep state, but it's deeper than the state. This, as we see, this is in Torah Code. It's been planned for over 3,000 years.
Yeah, the first one to predict it was God.
That's right. Yeah, though Alex Jones did give a prediction. We're not sure the exact date, but the Torah Code, this message was established over 3,000 years ago. So
yeah, do you want to bring up that update to the code we just was looking at as well?
Yeah, so this is an update to the previous code that was shown on the screen earlier.
It reveals some very interesting things.
Yeah, this is the same code as before, but now that we know some more, there were some additional terms we could identify. That's just spot on here. You got the shooting, and you got one ear, and there's also Hillary. And there's some other.
I wonder why.
Yeah, well, I think we'll come back to that. There's some other interesting words here too. Afforded, how much? Obviates government to be a wise guy. Because as we saw, he was shot in one ear, and that comes kind of up in the next code I did as well.
You want me to bring that up?
Yeah. So I found this code just before the stream here, so I haven't had it peer reviewed yet, and it's all very fresh. But you can see some very interesting terms here. What I was looking for was shooting Trump, which is the main search term, and the term I put on top there was two words. First, sheaf is, it's a bundle of grains, right, tied together after the harvest.
Symbolic meaning.
Yeah, it could be a very symbolic meaning. And then there was a word, a Talmudic term, which means to disfigure an animal's ear, thus making it unfit for sacrificial purposes. I was trying to find some more information about this word, but couldn't find much in the short time I had to search. But that is very interesting in my opinion. Because what I was thinking is you could interpret it like the thing that happened to his ear is like God or someone sending a message to everyone that you're not to touch this man, you're not to kill this man. He's not to be sacrificed.
He's unfit for sacrifice.
Yeah.
Which, to say that something is unfit for sacrifice is essentially to say that it is impure to begin with.
Yeah, and there are many people speculating and seem to look at things in prophecy that likens Donald Trump to an animal or a beast or something like that. So,
well, where it says clean if credit, and then when preceding that, like above that term where it says to disfigure an animal, thus making it unfit for sacrificial purposes, it feels like it's saying that Trump would be fit for sacrifice, or at least made clean by his trustworthiness, by the credit that he deserves.
yeah, that's one interpretation. What I was thinking was that the credit/trust garment was the bulletproof vest. That could have that made him appear clean, and at least his clothes were clean. Well, otherwise they would have been bloody when he got shot, because apparently he got a bullet in his chest as well. I don't know if
there was somebody.
Yeah.
That other term in one of the other codes saying "me heart," I think that might be referring to where one of the other shots was fired to.
Yeah.
Which is it's an obvious, basic target for anyone who's got even a modicum of any kind of kill training with a gun. Is there are certain points that you focus on: 2 to the chest, 1 in the head, and or I might have that backwards, but because I don't kill people.
Right. Would you go back to that code there?
Yeah. Yeah, if you were referring earlier to the double tap, actually, and that's 1 to the body, 1 to the head.
Okay.
Then there are other interesting words like affirming, confirmatory, healthful, restorative, which is probably reference to that. He's going to make it. He's going to heal after that, or it could also be salutary. And he made a very legendary salute there. It became a very iconic image.
Yeah, it's almost like this image here from this Illuminati play deck. That what you see him making the same face here, but he was yelling the word "fight."
Yeah. When
he was doing that fist bump.
That whole scene of him being escorted off stage, it just what. This is Secret Service we're talking about, right? So they have the reputation of being the best of the best when it comes to protecting key people, namely presidents or ex-presidents or those close to them. They're at a massive public event, and if you watch the video, they have the smallest. It's a woman. I mean, girl power, go for it. She's protecting the president with her life, same as anyone else. But so not to discredit her for her gender or anything, but why? Just thinking tactically, why would you have a much shorter human being, smaller frame, female, in front of as a body shield? That's the worst possible body shield you could choose, unless you want to leave the face open and get that shot.
Yeah, it's the PR shot right there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Public relations. You can really see his face quite clearly when there's not a tall man blocking him.
Even as they're getting him off the stage, I was watching this and I was just like, man, if there was a second shooter, because that's a real risk, and any time something like this happens, you have to think they might not be alone. Just
I'm going to rewind it a little bit so they can
security.
Watch this video again. You can see.
Before you do, I want to point something out. When you play it, I want people to watch this and see it. As he's coming down the steps, he's wide open, whole front, wide open. This is Secret Service we're talking about?
Yeah.
Come on.
And not only that woman that's supposed to be the closest one to him from the audience perspective also bends down, leaves him even further wide open just to pick up his hat.
They have aids for that sort of thing.
I'm sure this is also a protocol that they have to do this when something like this happens. They have to pull him off the stage and they have to, abort everything. But it looks very much like Trump didn't want to do that. He wanted to stay and continue the speech.
Granted, they have their limitations. When you're protecting a key figure, it can be difficult to subjugate their will to do your job.
Mhm.
One possible thing that occurred to me is the hat might have been picked up simply in an attempt to prevent further delays, like with Trump insisting on getting his shoes.
Yeah.
Someone also. Sorry, continue.
Sorry, no, I made my point. That was
Okay.
it's okay.
I just wanted to mention someone made a comparison to when Theodore, what's his name? Theodore Roosevelt?
Roosevelt?
I think it was in 1914 or something. He got shot in the chest, also during a speech, and he was saved by having his notes or something in his pocket, and they kind of absorbed the bullet somehow.
Oh
He
yes,
actually
the old book in a pocket trick.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And they
These
actually
days it's
finished
done with a
the
Nokia.
the
That's
unbreakable
Nokia for the rest of
Nokia.
you who speak English.
So what do you guys think about this this theory about Hillary Clinton? I know that she was in this code right here. We didn't mention it yet, but I'll bring it bigger up on the screen, where it says the shooting. It says 1 year. This is the updated version of the 2016 result, and it also says the name Hillary.
Yeah.
And you
Maybe
know,
she
we
is a part
actually,
of it.
yeah, and there is another layer to this that is a reason why she's in this code, because let's face it, we all know by now that she does not have clean hands. There's a lot of blood there. A lot of people tied to her disappearing, suiciding, etc. It's not a secret at this point. But sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It was that might get us flagged. But
For entertainment purposes.
yeah, there are certain words that tend to get you flagged depending which platform you're playing on, and that's one of them. The S word. Apologies there. But moving on, I want to read something. When asked about this, Lodriel offered some insight about why she might be in the code. He said there's a great esoteric undermessage that most people don't see. Hillary represents the evil witchiness of Babylon. She is the most senior, high-profile, influential woman in liberal left America who, like so many women of her archetype, literally gets away with murder and other heinous crimes in full view of everyone. She is the most senior advocate of child sacrifice, her sacrament. This is a reference to the abortion laws. Now, Trump, in contrast, represents what her and her coven mates see as the ultimate representation of evil patriarchy. A strong man who has risen to great power, wealth, stature, and influence. A man who seems to also be able to get away with things while the weaker female-dominated men cannot. He's a man who has subdued and dominated beautiful women, his wives and mistresses, insulted vile women, objectified and subjugated women, his beauty pageants, thwarted the plans of evil women, those that falsely accused him, derailed the plans of scheming women, most notably Hillary herself, and ultimately brought an end to the daily sacrifices to Babylon's goddess by overturning Roe v. Wade, the federal decision that had set up America's abomination of desolation. This is ultimately a battle of good versus evil. Those are Lodriel's words on the matter.
Trump is as alpha as they come, pretty much.
Yeah, true symbol of American defiance against the matriarchy.
Yeah.
I had to
Very
pause
much
for a
so.
moment when you said abomination. For a moment, my brain heard Obama-nation.
You wouldn't be far off. There's a reason for that. He's very much part of that.
Yeah.
But this is, understand, while it is orchestrated by forces far before America's inception, it is at the same time an act on the stage meant to be seen and understood for what it is. It is an orchestrated battle of good versus evil in terms of the symbolism and the archetypes that are being displayed in opposition to each other. That's why you have such polarization. That's why Trump himself, since before he was even elected, has been, more than anything else, he is a polarizing figure. He is. He polarizes the right from the left, extremely so, now more than ever. This is very much, you could call it deep state, as Alex Jones does. We understand that it is older than that. It is older than the state. The state is a prop. Even the deep state is one player on the board being moved.
It's a minor one at that, relatively speaking.
Relatively.
You bring up Alex Jones. Would you like me to display that prediction that he made?
Yes, please.
I'll go ahead and bring that up on the screen right now.
Listen to me very carefully. I have told you for months on air they're going to try to kill Trump. And when they try to kill Trump, they're going to go after everybody else that is his top supporters. And they also will try to kill Biden and blame it on a Trump supporter.
Wow.
That's coming next. Make no mistake, the same deep state that's behind Biden, that's trying to make him step down, was behind this today. They're now reporting it was an Antifa shooter who's now been killed. How convenient is that the supposed shooter has been killed? Ladies and gentlemen, our republic is in maximum danger right now. I'm about to go live at
That is very interesting. So he basically says that they're going to go after Biden next and try to blame it on a Trump supporter. It's just going to further cement this divide.
Further polarized.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing that can potentially escalate very rapidly.
Yeah. And if you saw how, I was paying attention to how the mainstream media reported on this and the statements that the different people gave about this. If you notice, all the Democrat people, Obama and Biden and so on, they were very meticulous about condemning political violence and stuff. And then the media reported that, Trump didn't actually condemn political violence and he didn't discourage retaliation and so on. So I think that if something like that happens to Biden now, they're going to sort of blame it on Trump for not doing that. You know? It's sort of like they're setting it up. You know?
Much.
What do you guys think?
And what do Democrats classically do? One of their basic tactics is to blame the other side for what they're doing. It's basic narcissism.
What they do, inflict upon themselves and blame others for it.
That rooftop thing, that is one of the big points about this whole thing that just stinks of being deliberate, being allowed. There was a quote, if you wouldn't mind. Actually, you know what? Let's read this first. Clark, would you mind reading that one?
About the meme that's on the screen here?
Yeah.
Yeah, why did they have the Secret Service on that roof? And then this little person here answers, a reason to have the CIA and the Secret Service on the same roof.
Oh. CIA asset. Obviously, there would be no official paper trail leading to them. We're too good at what they do for that, but it's incredibly likely that this was another person who was just as many of the shooters and so-called terrorists so far. They're instigated. They're fomented. They're fermented, you could say. But yeah, let's put the little girl in front of us on when we're being shot at. Perfect plan. And
That's a very, very cute.
That's adorable.
Meme. It reminds me also that the symbology of the upside down American flag symbolizes distress.
Yeah, it does. There's a tweet by someone, Uncommon Resolve, If you could pull that up, I'll read it for everyone.
Oh, right.
It
That was
really,
a different meme. But
yep.
let's see here. This one right here.
Yeah, it really puts it in perspective. So Uncommon Resolve says, I'm not sure enough people realize how statistically remote the possibility is that one untrained person happened to pick the one uncovered rooftop within firing range on the one day that the two sniper team was looking in the one direction from which the assassin was firing, and neither saw the threat nor engaged the target before he could get off one shot. He got off, what was it, 3 initially?
Yeah, at least 2 shots.
Yeah, but probably more than that, right? Because it hit like 3 people in the audience, I think. Or was it 2?
At least one person was killed. Yeah, it was 2 people in the audience. So one was killed, and another, I believe he was a local local official. His nephew, I think, was wounded. So this whole thing, we even have footage of the counter snipers on their barn. They were looking right at the guy as the shots were fired. They flinched when it happened, almost as if they were experiencing recoil. It was such a dramatic movement, but they sat there and let it happen first, but they were looking right at him. By the time their shots fired, it didn't even look like they were moving their guns. Yeah. Because when we play the footage, you'll see that the camera looks away from them the moment they start to shoot. There wasn't really any time while the camera was on them. There was no adjustment that you could see, really. But they were facing. How do you look at a guy on a roof with a gun pointed at the ex-president, possibly future president, and not do anything? Like, that's your whole job.
Protecting that person.
Maybe we should bring up that
interview. This isn't accidental.
Maybe we should bring up that interview from BBC where the guy talks about trying to warn the cops and Secret Service about the guy on the roof, and they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Would you like to bring that up?
And there's.
Well, I'm bringing up the video that Eric here was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
it's short.
Yeah, it shows that that bit that he was talking about the snipers and their reaction.
Watch closely.
I'll bring it back a little bit so people can see it again.
It's one of the Secret Service snipers up there, right?
Mm-hmm. Counter snipers.
And what video were you asking for?
Yeah, that one.
This interview here?
Yeah.
Okay. Play that for everyone.
Right, we couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes?
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes?
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see? I mean, obviously, everyone when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching. But you're pretty sure they shot the guy.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
It appears that Donald Trump
that's
has
it,
been...
I think. So yeah, there's a lot of things pointing to something really fishy.
Yeah, this was clearly a stand-down order that was given somewhere along the line. So, just the fact that the Secret Service perimeter was so small, it was way, I forget the actual numbers, but it was way below what a typical like perimeter of protection would be for this sort of thing by Secret Service. It was, this was allowed, guys. Let's not
And I've seen other people
have any
saying
illusions
that
about it.
Yeah, I've seen other people also saying that they try to warn the police or Secret Service about they saw the guy crawling, and I mean 2 to 3 minutes. That's a pretty long time to not react and do anything. It's a long time if you think about what you can do in 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, at some point, actually, just before the shooting, according to one report, a beat cop, just a regular cop or whatever, was not Secret Service, was climbing that roof. He climbed up the ladder to the roof, and I guess the report says that the gunman turned and pointed the gun at him, and he got back off the roof really quickly. And then immediately the gunman turned and fired his shots, which I have my doubts about that, because all this was happening while the actual counter snipers were facing that way, and they didn't see a gun being pointed at a cop. Think maybe that guy's a threat. Nothing. It just doesn't add up. But obviously, some regular beat cop wouldn't be in on it or anything like that. He wouldn't be getting those sorts of orders. He would just be doing regular additional security detail, nothing major from him. So, seeing that video again, I'm sorry. Just the choice of bodyguard to cover Trump's front it's laughable. It's so plainly stagecraft, guys.
Very convenient to get that sort of angle and that picture that some media reports is going to win the election pretty easily. It looks so wholesome and nice. It looks like a champion of the United States.
From what I've seen of the location where the podium was located and the surrounding structures, it wasn't like there was an overwhelming number of elevated positions that they had to try and the Secret Service had to try and keep an eye on.
You can see on the map there's only a few roofs around. It's in the middle of a large field almost, but from the overhead map you can see there's not that much around to cover.
Yeah.
And it would have been extremely easy. It wouldn't have even taken that much manpower to have eyes on every inch of those rooftops all around. I believe if I'm not misremembering, the standard for Secret Service, and don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% by any means about it, but the standard, I think, perimeter for Secret Service to detail this sort of thing would be a half mile, like as far out as a half mile from the target. They would be monitoring rooftops and all that sort of thing.
Well, a good observation post from what I've seen of the images as well. There's a water tower there. They could have had a spotter up there quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been able to see everything.
Every roof.
Almost.
Yeah.
Every rooftop, definitely.
In that direction, yeah. Even the sloped ones, you would still have a pretty easy time seeing, I would assume, both angles of slope.
Hmm. Well, it's at least, just going off the images I've seen, the water tower is at least 3 times higher than any other rooftop there.
It's going to be interesting to follow this and see what happens. FBI is going to head up the investigation, from what I understand, and
there's a red flag.
They have their own agenda and interests, you know.
Yeah, a blue flag, perhaps.
Yeah, they've been working together with the Democratic Party to discredit Trump before.
Mm.
Didn't they bring forth that fake dossier that they were talking about, that talked about Russian girls doing their business on him and stuff? That was clearly just fabricated.
Yeah, they've shown a lot of bias in who they target and how intensely. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But let's keep an eye out. This may not be over, especially with poison being in the codes.
We might find more in the codes as well. There's they were talking about a second shot, perhaps, that there might be more attempts against his life. There were codes revealing Kamala Harris is the next president of the United States, not president-elect, but by default from Biden being taken out of office.
Yeah, do you have that card there? I think you had a picture
second
of
shot.
that. Yeah. You had it in one of the tabs there, I think. The other card.
Okay.
It's that one there, yeah. Second bullet. So this is what a lot of people say there might be a second attempt. I don't know, it could be referring to the second bullet in this event, maybe.
It's from the Illuminati card game. A lot of predictive messages hidden within this deck.
Yeah.
That's been out since, what, the 70s, 80s?
Yeah, maybe something like that. I'd love to have the whole set and see, which cards can we tick off and which ones do we have left, and try to see what, what they predict.
The original set's actually selling for over $200 on eBay.
Really?
Wow.
But there's a newer, updated version that has the same cards in it. It's just, a newer release that's only like $30 on Amazon.
Huh. And it's actually playable, right? It's a game that
you can play. Yeah, it's a real
game.
game that you can play. It would be fun.
Yeah.
$200 play out the end of the world together.
I'm not sure if it's $200 worth of fun, but yeah.
No, yeah, that's like a collector's edition kind of a thing. But that is what you're seeing is from the original deck.
And it does kind of resemble Trump a little bit with the blonde hair.
Yeah, there are some uncanny resemblances. This Torah Code discovery actually includes one of the cards as well in the image on the top left.
Yeah.
Title of the card being Enough is Enough. I don't have the clip up, but there was also The Simpsons also predicted the death of Donald Trump even before he was elected president.
Really?
Yeah, they
And
made
the
that
Simpsons
prediction.
never did any predictions, right? Do they?
Well, excluding the dome,
weird,
of course.
Any weird, uncanny things that, turn out to happen?
Having trouble hearing you, brother.
Is my audio messing up?
Yeah, something happened to your audio.
That's very
Matt,
strange.
can you speak?
I hear you.
Yep, I can speak.
Oh, must be on my headset.
Okay, so were you getting me messed up as well?
Oh, yeah, it was just me. Sorry. Thought I'd interrupt you there, Eric. What were you saying?
Yeah, no worries. Just joking about the Simpsons predicting things.
Hmm.
Because it does happen. I mean, there are so many people in the alert watcher community who have pointed out over and over again this principle that the elite seem to have, that if they telegraph their moves ahead of time, then when it happens, anyone who's fooled by it, it's their own fault, or there's no culpability from that.
Yeah.
If they telegraph it ahead of time, there's some truth to that, but at the same time, it is meant to be a sign for the alert, for the watchful to recognize these things. We are meant to read into it. We are meant to pay attention to the crap of media, but not as mere entertainment. There is more to it that we're meant to observe and consider.
That's why people all around the world should listen to us, because we very much follow these things and understand deeper meanings about things that are hidden to the general public a lot of times.
There's symbolism in everything.
Yep.
Even the wall behind this Trump-like figure on the second bullet has got stones, brickwork behind him. Wink, wink. Masonry.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fun stuff we can dig into. I say fun in a multitude of meanings.
Yeah.
Truth is fun.
It's fun watching the fireworks. Kind of, you know.
Well, this is all part of the process to bringing the kingdom of God. It's all part of the process to not just bring it, but to show people why it's so necessary. They have to understand that for it to be sustainable. They have to understand the need for it. We're almost there. People are starting to see a need for something very radically different from anything they've been shown or led by thus far. But a lot of ideologues have to come crashing down.
They have to be proven to fail, and spectacularly so.
People do learn best by trial and error, don't they?
Hypothetically.
So we guide that process. Let them learn. God's will be done.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well,
so
speaking of
God's
all,
will be done. I think that we've reached a proper closing point for today's episode. What do you guys think?
I think so. There is one more thing I would add, just as a bit of a teaser to next week or some soon episode.
Yeah.
Speaking of a wound to the head, right? There is a head wound, very prominent in Scripture, in the book of Revelations, to be specific. We're going to be diving into all of that next week. Is Trump that individual described in the book? Well, I wouldn't say that, but we'll get to it. So, just something for everyone to look forward to.
Looking
The
forward to
beasts
that
of
myself.
Revelation. Yes. We're also going to be, at some point, we're going to be talking about the mark of the beast and the multiple fulfillments of that prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Multifaceted perspective there.
That's what I'm referring to. Yeah, chapter 13. We're going to break it down because it is not what people think. One of many colossal scriptural misinterpretations that have become so prevalent in this wide highway that we call Christianity today.
Yep.
Okay.
Highway to hell, stairway to heaven.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Yeah. I do want to close this on a positive note too. I know we did a little bit of joking around today, but this is a pretty serious matter.
That was humor.
The attempted assassination of former U.S. President and President-elect Donald Trump. And I do say President-elect because most certainly he would win landslide victory if there is an upcoming election. There will be more on this topic coming soon. Throughout the rest of the week, we'll be touching on it at various points as news comes out, including additional Torah Code evidence if God chooses to reveal it to us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Love God, love each other. In the name of the returned Christ, Lord Rael.
Amen.